Okay, now I've brought up my table. Now, what I'm going to do in this particular table, let me bring up the table so you can view that particular table I just loaded. Okay, now this particular table I just loaded. Now recall each of this table I brought it out from the fact table. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the fact table the way it is, but for the date table, the customer table, I'm going to remove duplicates. So let's align here. Click on that. Press on the shift key of your computer and click on that particular cells. Press on your Ctrl Shift key and your down arrow key to select all that particular cell. Then you are going to go to your data menu. When you click on the data menu, you go to remove data. When you go to your data menu, you go to remove data. When you go to the data menu, you go to remove data. When you go to data menu, remove data. When you go to remove data, now which of the column do I want to use to remove duplicates? Okay, you're going to select this and then you click on the customer table. It's going to bring you dialog box known as remove duplicate dialog box. And now the duplicate dialog box, you click on customer ID. Then when you click on customer ID, I'm going to click OK. That will remove duplicates from that particular table. Then I'll do likewise to my DIM product table and my DIM geographic table. So I'll go to my DIM product table. I'm going to select the whole table. I'm going to select the whole table. I go to my data menu. I click on remove duplicates. I'm going to unselect the whole cell. I'm going to pick the product ID. I want to remove duplicate from that and click on OK. That will remove duplicate from that particular table. Then I go to my DIM geographic table. I'm going to do likewise on my DIM geographic table. I'm going to select all the whole data sets, Control Shift and your down arrow key. Then you go to your data menu and you go to remove data and you click on the let's say the zip code and remove duplicates. So once you are done removing duplicate from your table, once you are done removing duplicates from your table, once you are done removing duplicates from table, now we are going to save the table and we are going to go to your Power Pivot, but I've closed the Power Pivot because I want to record the step. So we are going to start that afresh again. So in order to load the dataset into Power Pivot, we have to open a new Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to open a new Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to close this one now. I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to open a new Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to open a new Excel spreadsheet. Now in this new Excel spreadsheet, I'll go to Power Pivot. Once I get to Power Pivot, I go to Manage. I click on that Manage. When I click on Manage, you can see my data set is up. Let me try refreshing. Let me refresh the whole data set. Once we're done refreshing, then we'll try linking the tables together. And let's see if we actually succeed in linking the tables together. Okay, now let's try to link the table. Let's try to link the table again. Let's try to create a relationship among the tables. Okay, now let's go to the diagram. Let's click on the diagram. Because this is the data view. So let's go to the diagram view. Okay, let's see So we're trying to link the geographic table together, the geographic table with the fact tables together. And we are trying to use the zip code and linking that. Let's see if everything, now you can see it has linked up. Now let's try that for the product table. Let's see if we can link that together with product. Now the date table. Now for the date table, we have to, let's see, okay, fine. It's linked up with the date table together. Now you can see that I have that one-to-many relationship. You can see each of these tables is connected to my main table known as a fact table. This is a star schema. So once you are done with this star schema, the next thing we are going to do, let us create a, let's create a pivot table with that. Let's create a pivot table with that. Let's create a pivot table with that. Okay. Oh, someone is complaining that they can't hear me. I hope you get, can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, let me, I need a reply. Can you all hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You, when you click on pivot table, you click on OK. If I want to click on OK, it will bring up the a new Excel spreadsheet, bringing up the pivot table screen. Now the Excel pivot table screen. Now the Excel pivot table screen is up. So let me assume I want to create some data set. Let me assume I want to create some data set. Let me assume like the category of those groups. I place it on the row column, and the unit. Okay, let me see the unit cost and the unit price, that's the total cost and the total price are the same for the goods. And also in the, let me see the by segment. Okay, fine. I've seen the goods, I want to see the goods by category and by segment. Now I've created a simple pivot table with this. I've created a simple pivot table with this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to connect this to that. Now you can see after creating my pivot, after loading my data set in my pivot, using the pivot table, sorry, using the Power Pivot in loading my data, I connected my data, my tables together with one another using the Power Pivot. Then the next thing I did was to create a pivot table. That is, create a particular something from my pivot model. Then from my pivot model, now I'm going to connect now to DAX. Now you can see I click on add-ins because I've already have installed DAX add-ins on my Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to click on DAX today. Now, you don't necessarily have to open DAX before you are able to connect to DAX from Excel. DAX is shut down now on my system, but it's installed on my system. So how do you install DAX? So let's see how we can download and install DAX before we. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a second, but let me do the connection first. Once I click on adding, the next thing go to DAX Studio. When I click on DAX Studio, it will load the DAX Studio already installed on my system. The DAX Studio is already installed on my system. It's going to bring up the DAX Studio. Now you can see, the screen for the DAX Studio. Now you can see the file name here telling me book 1. When I go to my Power Pivot here, and you see my Power Pivot. When you look at my Power Pivot, you can see the file name there is book 1. You can see the file name there is book 1. So the moment I clicked on that DAX Studio, it brings up the DAX Studio already installed on my system. Now it has already selected Power Pivot. Now all I need to do is to click on Connect. Then when I click on Connect, it will connect Power Pivot. I'll be connected from that Excel to DAX Studio. Now that we connected from Excel to DAX Studio. That we connected from Excel to DAX Studio. Now you can see that I'm now connected to DAX Studio. What I need to do, I can now run a query here. For instance, use the evaluate function, which is a keyword. When you want to start any query in DAX, you start with that word evaluate. Any query you want to run in DAX, you start with that word evaluate. Except maybe on Power BI, you can start with something else. But once you are in DAX Studio, you want to run a query in DAX Studio, you start with that keyword evaluate. Now let's say evaluate. Let me pick a function, for instance, summarize. Now you can see all my tables here. These are all my tables here. In this all my tables, let's assume I want to summarize the theme product table. Okay, and this is the name of the table, theme product, and these are the column in each table. So let's assume I need okay, I want to pick some columns from that my product table, then column. I want to pick the category column. I want to pick the category column, comma. I also want to pick the product column. Now, when I want to pick up each of the column, you can see I'm referencing the table name first because there's a lot of table here. Before that studio will be able to identify the table you are interested in, you have to mention the name of the table. So in this particular case, I have to mention the name of the table, which is your team product. And tell Power BI, I need this particular column from this particular table. In other words, I'm telling Power BI, I need the column category from this table known as team products. Now I'm telling Power BI that I need this column known as products, product column from this table known as team product. You can see I have to reference the table name first before the column name. Now I want to pick this particular one known as product ID. Before I'll pick the product ID, I have to reference the name of the table first. So Power BI will be able to identify that and make use of the open bracket, square bracket. When we go to that, so you understand all this. I'm trying to show you how you can connect now. So we go to product ID. Now the product ID, you type the bracket close. Now, once you type the bracket close and you hit on enter, you can see at the bottom here, it has actually run this particular data set. So you can see that has run the data set, has given the category column, product column, and product ID. So this is how to connect your pivot table to your DAX Studio. Now, in my Excel spreadsheet, recall in my Excel spreadsheet, I already have DAX Studio installed in my Excel spreadsheet. So how can you use the DAX Studio plugin, which I have already told you that for you to get the DAX Studio plugin, you go to your file, you go to option. When you go to file, you go to option, it will bring up the option exit option dialog box, and you go to add-ins. Go to add-ins, then you look for DAX Studio under the inactive application. You select it. When you want to select that, you go to under manage section, you click on come add in, and you click on go. Then when you click on go, you bring up the come add in dialog box. You select DAX Studio and you click on OK. Then when you click on OK, the next time you open Microsoft Excel, DAX Studio will be, you go to add in, DAX Studio will be connected to your Excel spreadsheet. Now, how can you download DAX Studio and install it on your system? So let's see how we can install DAX Studio on our system. So let's go to Adobe. You have to Google that and then to install DAX Studio on your system. So I'm going to open Google now. Now when you go to Google, you can see I typed DAX Studio SQL BI. Now you can use DAX Studio SQL BI. Now, when you type on that, it will give you option. You click on the first option. You click on the first option. Once you click on the first option, you scroll down a bit. You see DAX Studio 3.0 and you click on download. Well, when you click on download, it will automatically start downloading that particular software. But now you ask for an email, you put in your email there. Once you put in your email, you click on download. Once you click on download, it will automatically start downloading the software. So I've already downloaded that. I don't need that again. So I'm going to pause that for now. So the other thing, to download the DAX Studio, another way to download the DAX Studio, you type DAX Studio. Now you can see this place I typed DAX Studio HQLBI. I'll advise you make use of this particular use this particular method in installing DAX Studio. Because at times when you install DAX Studio using just DAX Studio, the installation at times doesn't work. You have to still download another version and keep trying another version. Now you can see the Studio installer version. You can see the portable version. So you just click on this DAX Studio installer version. So it will automatically start downloading that. So I don't want to download that. But I will advise when you want to install DAX Studio, make use of DAX Studio SQLBI to install DAX Studio on the system. So that is how to install Connect Power Pivot to DAX Studio. But I said in this training, I'm going to connect Power BI to DAX Studio. I'm going to use that connection throughout this training. Why? Because from time to time, I want to go into Power BI from time to time in order to explain some of the DAX query. Because for you to understand DAX query very well, it is better you run it on, you make use of Power BI. So from time to time, I will be going into Power BI to explain. I'll be going to Power BI to run the DAX Studio, but I will focus on DAX Studio for this training. But from time to time, I'll have to go into Power BI. So how do you connect Power BI to DAX Studio? First and foremost, you have to download Power BI on your system. So how do I do that? I'll take down the Power BI system. So you go to Google again. This time around, you are going to type Power BI. Power BI desktop free download. Now, we have Power BI desktop version. We have Power BI Cloud, that's a service version. Now, Power BI Cloud, about Power BI service, helps you to publish your dashboard. Once you finish creating your dashboard, you want to publish it online, you use Power BI Cloud, Power BI service. That's what you use to publish your dashboard online. But when you want to create your dashboard, you use a Power BI desktop. Also, the Power BI Cloud can also give opportunity to create visualization online. Also, we have the Power BI phone. So you are going to download Power BI desktop free download. You type that. Then when you type that, you click on that first option. When you click on that first option, it takes you to this page. When it takes you to this page, you can see it's showing you the Power BI is telling you the active version. One for Windows version 32-bit computer and the other one for 64-bit computer system. You can see it takes indicated that then you click on download. Then when you click on download, it brings up a pop-up download box telling you to choose which download you want to download from. When I click on this, and that's for 64-bit computer system, and click on download because my system is 54-bit. I do that, it will start downloading it. But I don't want to do that. I've already installed that. But when you are done downloading, the next thing you do, you locate where the folder is on your system. When you locate where the folder is on your system, the next thing you double click and you'll start installing that Power BI on your system. Once you are done with the installation of Power BI on your system, now the next thing is to do is for you to load the data set into your Power BI. Next is to load your data set into your Power BI. So let's see how we can load a data set into Power BI. Let me bring up my Power BI screen. I'm going to show you how you can load your data set into your Power BI. I'll soon be going offline again, but I'm going to send in the link so that we can rejoin the class. I'm going to still send in another link so we can join the class. I'll be dropping a link in the WhatsApp group so we can rejoin the class. So let me bring up my Power BI screen. Let me bring up my Power BI screen. So once you download Power BI on your system, once you download Power BI on your system, it will bring up this particular screen. Once you download Power BI on your system, it will bring up this particular screen. It will bring up this particular screen. Once it brings us this particular screen, all you need to do is to click on the reports, and it will bring up the Power BI screen. So now we are going to load our data set into Power BI. Then we are going to connect that to DAX Studio before we start learning how to use DAX Studio, how to run query on DAX Studio. Now I've already said, so let's quickly see that in the next 3 minutes. Let's go. So this is the Power BI. We have the title page. On the right-hand side, we have the sign in. You want to go to Power BI Cloud. We have the minimize button, the restore and maximize button. We have the close button. On the right-hand side, we have the save button. We have the menu for each of them. Once you click on each menu, it brings up a list of commands. And each of the commands is divided into, each of the menus divided into groups, just like Microsoft Word. We have a thin line dividing them into various groups. Like you have the home menu, it is divided into a clipboard group, data, queries, insert, calculation, sensitivity, share, and the co-pilot. So divided into the on the right hand side here, you have the data visualization, you have the filter panel, and you have the data panel. The moment you load your data into Power BI, it will be displayed on this particular panel. Then in your Power BI, you have the report view, you have the table view, you have the model view. This is where your relationship among your table will be reflected. Here also, there's a new feature in Power BI, which is a DAX query. We also have a DAX query platform in Power BI. It has been attached to Power BI. It's not up to a year, but it's more than 6 months that it has been the future has been connected to Power BI. So if you want to load data into Power BI, the first thing you need to do is to click on Get Data. Now, in order to click, when you click on Get Data, you have various sources in which you can load in data into Power BI. Now you have Excel. If your data is stored in Excel, you click on Excel. Like my very case is stored in Excel. So whichever source where your data is stored in, you click on it. Power BI supports a variety of various sources, a variety of various files which you can use. So all I need to do is to click on Excel. But when I click on Excel, I will now locate where my data is on my computer system. I'll locate where my data is on my computer system. I'll locate where my data is on my computer system. Remember, is the sales modeling. Now, but before I do that, let me bring up an Excel spreadsheet here. Let me bring up this Excel spreadsheet. Now, this Excel spreadsheet. Recall we divided this into various parts, into various sheets. But when I want to load this into Power BI, I'm not going to use the divided sheets. Though that sheet was divided into various tabs, I'm not going to make use of that particular sheet. I'll make use of this flat file. I'm going to load this flat file into Power BI. Then the flat file into Power BI, I'm going to use it to divide. I'm going to bring out various tables from the Power BI. So I'm going to load this flat file and not this other one that I used in Power Pivot. Because all what we did in Excel, taking some of the column into a new sheet, doing all that is a waste of time. It's very, very difficult and tedious work. You can do all that in Power BI. So Power BI will just do everything in Power BI and we'll connect it to that studio and start using it in our data. So I'm going to load that particular data file. So that's just what I want us to know. No? So you go to get data, then you go to Excel workbook. Once you get to Excel workbook, you locate your particular data set you want to use. You click on that. The moment you click on that particular Excel spreadsheet you want to use, it's going to take you to the Power Query window. It's going to take you to the Power Query window. Now, if you can see, now you have a checkbox beside here. You click on that checkbox. Once you click on the checkbox, on the right-hand side, it will display your data sets on your right-hand side. So, because I want to work on this data set, this is a large file, this is a flat file. So, this is a flat file. So, I want to bring out other tables. I want to break this table into smaller tables. So, in order to do that, I have to click on transform data button. When you click on load button, it will load the data set directly into Power BI. But when you make use of the transform data button, it will take you into Power Query while the council will terminate the action. So I click on that. Then when I click on that, it will take my data set into Power BI, into Power Query. So it will take me to another window known as the Power Query Editor. So it will take me to this new window known as the Power Query Editor. So in this Power Query Editor, I will start editing my table set. Now recall that I have how many tables do I want to retrieve from this? I want to retrieve 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 tables plus this one will make it 5 tables. So when I get to my Power Query, I'm going to duplicate this mode table. I'm going to duplicate this table. I'm going to duplicate it into 4 times because I want to create other tables from my main table known as the fact table. So I'm going to duplicate that 4 times. So duplicated is important. So my first table, remember that we call that the fact cells. That's the fact cells. That is my fact table. The other one is the dim dimension table, and that we can call that the product table. That's the dim product table. We can call that the dim product table. That's the dimension, not that the product dimensional table. That's the dim product table. We call that the dim product table. Then this we call that the dim customer table. Then this we call this the dim customer table. We call that the dim geography table, the dim geography. And this we call it the dim date table. Also, alternatively, you can see you can have this written down in a particular booklet while you sketch it out how you want to carry out this analysis. Let me bring up my Power BI. Let me bring up my PowerPoint. Let me bring up my PowerPoint. You can sketch out how you want to do this particular thing in a particular place. You can just sketch it out. Now you can see, let's see, now you can see in this particular, okay, there's not it. Okay, let me bring up the PowerPoint. Let me bring up the PowerPoint slide for Power BI, the one we're using. Now, you can see, okay, now this is another table I did. I had to list the columns for each of the table, and now I want to create the relationship among the table. This is just an example. So you can see for a particular table, fact date table, I listed the columns for each of the table. So you can do this first and foremost. When you are done, you now go to how you want to relate these tables together. That is another data set. Now you can see that connect this particular table with this particular table using a particular column. So you can do all that so that it will be very easier for you to connect your data set. So let's go back to what we're doing. So we've already had this table now. The next thing we are going to do, we are going to click on the dim table and we are going to go to choose column. We are going to select the column we need from this particular table, from the fact table. Recall I duplicated the fact table. So we are going to select the columns that we need in this particular table. So click on this to select. This is a product table. The product table, I need the product ID. I need the product, I need the unit, I need the category, I need the segment, I need the unit cost, I need the unit price. I think that is all I need for that particular table. So the next thing I need to click on OK. Then when you click on OK, you click on this particular column heading, and you scroll and you press down your shift key of your computer and click on it to select all the table. Then you right click and click on remove duplicates. Then when you remove duplicate, it will remove the duplicate column just the way we did for that of that pivot table. So it will remove the duplicate columns automatically out from that table, and it will leave the unique value there. So let's exercise patience so it will remove all the duplicate columns from that particular table. Now, once the duplicate columns will be removed from that particular, I move to the next table. I click on the next table. I'm going to follow the same process. I'm going to click on choose. I'm going to choose column. I'm going to follow the same process, choose column. When I go to choose column, I'm going to select the columns that are needed. I need a customer ID. For this particular column, I need a customer ID. I also need the email of the customer. And also I need the city, the state, the region of the customer, the district, and the country of the customer. But for the fact that I have another table known as geography table, so I can exclude all this from this particular table. And I'm going to tap all that column. I'm going to take all that column into the dim geography table. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pick the customer ID here. I'm going to pick the email name here, and I'm going to pick the customer ID. I'm going to pick the email name there, and that is all for that particular table. Then I click on OK. So next thing I'm going to do now is this. There's some things we need to do to clean this particular table. Now, if you don't know how to make use of this particular thing, you have to ensure that your data set in Excel spreadsheet is well formatted. You don't know how to make use of this command in Power Query. Tomorrow we're having a training in Power BI. You can join the training because I'll be teaching how you can make use of all these commands in that particular thing. So if you don't know how to make use of this command, ensure that your data set are in order. So first and foremost, we are going to do the same thing. We're going to remove the duplicates. We are going to remove the duplicates here. Click on that. You can right click and click on remove duplicates. So let's click on remove duplicates. Now, We've removed the duplicate columns, and I don't think there's any other ones. Fine, we remove the duplicate column. The next thing you're going to do, this particular column, you can see the email, the first name and last name are all joined together. I'm going to split that by delimiter. Now, what is delimiter? Delimiter might be a column, might be it might be a column, it might be a comma, might be equals to sign, might be a tab. So I click on column. When I click on column, now when you look at this particular table, you can see column here. I want to separate the email with the name first and foremost. So I click on leftmost delimiter. So then when you click on that, the next thing you need to do is to click on OK. Click on OK. So once you click on OK, it separates the two together. Now I've done that. Now in this particular, I have first name and last name. I want to separate these two together. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to either right click and go to split column. When I click on right click and split column by one delimiter. Now you can see the first name and last name are separated by a comma. So I'm going to select a comma here and leftmost comma. And next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on OK. So that will split that into two. So let me call this the last name, and let me call this the first name. So don't click on that and sign the first name, and it's enter. Now this particular email, that's the email address. So we can call that email address. Hit enter. Then the email address is not well written. I'm going to split it. I'm going to use replace value. So click on that replace value. What value do I want to replace? I want to replace this open bracket comma, open bracket comma. I will replace open bracket comma, and I'll leave that empty. I'll leave it the way it is. So it removed that. So that for the close bracket, I'm going to do the same thing. Let me right click and go to replace. And right click and select replace. So I'm going to do bracket close and leave that replace it with that. Now you can see now I have all my columns. Okay. So, I don't think there's any other duplicate values here. I don't think we have any other duplicate values to remove them. I think there is. Okay, fine. We're done with that. So let's go to team geography. When I go to team geography, we're going to do the same thing in the team geography table. Click on column. Now we're going to select the columns that are needed in the team geography. In the geography dimension, the team geography table, we need the zip code, we need the city, we need the state, we need the region, we need the district, we need the country. That represents where the customer stays, and we click on OK. Okay, well, when we do that, when we have to follow the same process and remove duplicates. Okay, remove duplicates, and we come to remove duplicates.